This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, friends. In this Business Intelligence Master Program, today we are going to discuss about triggers. Okay, so in Azure Data Factory, trigger is nothing but your starting point to execute your pipeline. Okay, suppose you want to execute particular pipeline without manual intervention. Okay, maybe based on a particular timing or based on some event occurred. Event means maybe some file arrived into the blob storage or some file is deleted in the blob storage. You want to send some kind of a process, you want to execute some kind of pipeline, right? So in that case, you are going to use a one kind of a trigger. You have another trigger where you want to do like parallel processing, or you want to maintain some kind of a dependency. If another pipeline succeeded, then I want to execute this particular pipeline. And you want to process entire history of the data, then we have a different types of trigger. So based on your requirement, how you want to execute your pipeline, we are going to use the different triggers. So today we are going to talk about event based trigger. This particular trigger you need to use in scenarios like whenever some file is arrived into the blob storage. Okay, then you need to immediately start executing your pipeline so that your pipeline will process this particular file. And in the same way, and like let's say after some time another file arrived, so you need to, what you need to do, you need to process that file as well by executing some pipeline. Okay, next, you, let's say some file is deleted, you want to inform to some support team or some your development team saying that this particular file has been deleted. So how you can tell? So you need to send some kind of notifications, right? So for all of these you are going to use the event based trigger. I hope you understood event based trigger. It will work in two cases. One is when file arrived into the storage. Second one is when file is deleted in the storage. These are the events. These are the two events. Whenever these events occurred in the storage, to these events your pipeline will execute. In the pipeline, whatever activities we have used, based on those activities your pipeline will process your files, or it will send the notification based on activities which you are using. Okay, let's say in today's session we will learn scenarios. Okay, what is trigger, how many types of triggers available in ADF v2, what is event based trigger, key points. Because see, before you start with anything, what you need to do, registering in your portal, you need to follow these key points. That is registering with, that is the one which is going to process in backend. Whenever some file came into the blob storage, this particular event notification, it should send to the Azure Data Factory. Entire backend process will be taken care by event grid. So that's why you need to activate your event grid. It's nothing but you need to register event grid so that your event grid will be available. Whenever some file came into blob storage, it will identify and it will trigger your Azure Data Factory. Okay, next, estimations. We are going to see estimations, as we know, prerequisites and the required resources. Okay, these things we already know. Demo, we are going to see how to create SQL database, create table, okay, create stored procedure. We are also going to create the blob storage, Azure Data Factory v2. Okay, we are going to use, as I mentioned in earlier session, whenever I am going to do any lab from like today, at least I'm going to use the Azure keyword, because we already covered this concept. So from today onwards, we are going to use the keyword for each and every session. Next, Azure SQL DB linked service with keyword using integration runtime we are going to do. Then creating multiple data sets as per requirement, creating pipeline, debug pipeline, and run pipeline with the trigger. See, this point has changed today. Run pipeline with the trigger. We are not going to run pipeline manually. Pipeline will be triggered based on the events. Next, monitor pipeline. Okay, so we are going to monitor all these details. Scenarios, you see how to trigger pipeline when new file uploaded into the Azure storage account. Maybe not only uploaded, some applications are loading the files into your storage account. When some file came into the your storage account, immediately you want to run your pipeline. So how you can do that? Then how to trigger pipeline on file deleted from Azure storage account. Some file is deleted from the storage, you want to send this particular event to your Azure Data Factory, so that Azure Data Factory will execute the respective pipelines which you have attached. How to avoid running pipeline when file size 0 bytes in Azure storage account? This is the optional. If you want to avoid running pipeline whenever I uploaded a empty file, whenever I uploaded the empty file in my storage, I can avoid running pipeline. If you want to run pipeline even when I upload empty file, that is your choice. Okay, that configuration you need to set. So this is all with storage account, right? Same points will work even with data lake storage gen 2. How to trigger pipeline when new file uploaded into data lake storage gen 2? How to trigger pipeline on file deleted from Azure data lake storage gen 2? And how to avoid running pipeline when file size is 0 bytes in Azure data lake storage gen 2? Okay, so all these scenarios we are going to cover today. Okay, fine. Finally, we are going to see how to use the event to trigger captured properties. As we discussed in our earlier session, captured properties means, let's say I have uploaded some file into some folder. That folder name, file name, you can get it dynamically by using a captured properties. Example, I have a custard.csv that I uploaded in the Cloud Pandit folder. Now Cloud Pandit folder and a custard.csv, both I can read it dynamically. I don't know what file I have uploaded. So based on what file I have uploaded, I can able to read that particular file. Okay, I hope everybody is clear on these things. Let's say now what is trigger? So as discussed, triggers are another way that you can execute a pipeline run. So we were doing manual run, we are debugging the pipeline. This is another way that you can execute a pipeline, that is by using triggers. Triggers represent a unit of processing that determines when a pipeline execution needs to be kicked off. So triggers will tell you when this pipeline has to run. So as per the event trigger, when our pipelines will run, whenever some file uploaded into the blob storage, my pipeline will run. Whenever some file is deleted from the blob storage or data lake storage gen 2, my pipeline will execute. Meaning on loading some file, my pipeline will respond, my pipeline will execute. On deletion of a particular file, my pipeline will run. So these are the two cases. Next, data factory support three types of triggers. One is schedule trigger, tumbling window trigger, event based trigger. Schedule trigger is exactly, let's say I want to run my pipeline at 4 a.m. IST or 7 a.m. IST, 10 a.m. IST. If you want to do, you need to go with the schedule trigger. Tumbling window trigger means it is going to create a something called windows. Example, let's say I'm going to set last 1 month data I want to process, and my window is 24 hours. Then what happens is it is going to create a 30 windows, because one day 24 hours is going to be one day, right? So now 24 hours means one day, right? One day is going to be one window for me, because now last 1 month data if I want to process, then I'm going to say from last 1 month I want to process. Then what happens, it will ask you to set the window size. Window size is if I give 24 hours, meaning whatever data you have received in 24 hours, this will load first. Next 24 hours data it will load next, it will load next 24 hours data. Example, let's say January 1st to January 30 I want to process the data. My window size is 24 hours. Then January 1st from like 24 hours data, it will load. January 2nd 24 hours data it will load. January 3rd next, January 4th, January 5th, something like that. If I say tumbling window trigger window size is 12 hours, then January 1st, first 12 hours data it will load, then next 12 hours data it will load. Then it will go to the next day, January 2nd, first 12 hours data it will load, next 12 hours data again it will load. So those are a windows. So all these windows it will create. So when you say last 1 month of data I want to process, so how many, let's say, can you just guess it and tell me, I have a 1 month, meaning let's imagine 30 days. My window size is 24 hours. How many windows it will create, friends? Guess it and tell me how many windows it is going to create. Whoever understood, tell me. Otherwise, don't worry. Tomorrow we will discuss in detail. Okay. Very good, Navra. So it is going to create a 30 windows. Now, if my window size is 12 hours, how many windows it will create? Very good. Very good. Very good. So it is going to create a 60 windows. Now the thing is, what happens is, now you have 30 windows, 60 windows, right? Now I want to process maybe parallelly concurrence windows. Let's say 10 is my concurrency triggers, meaning concurrency value equal to 10. If you put, what happens is, out of this 30 or out of 60, 10 triggers will, like 10 windows will process at once. Next 10 windows will process, next 10 windows it will process. Okay, so you can put some 50 windows I want to process at a time. You can able to set all those things, but we will discuss about tumbling window in detail in upcoming session. Just to give you some knowledge, I have explained this. Let's go with the third one, which we are going to do the lab today. That is event based trigger. A trigger that responds to an event. As we discussed again and again, I'm repeating, event means we have two events. One is when file is loaded, second one is when file is deleted. Then I want to run a pipeline. Okay, now let's see other things. So this is also very important. So you remember, friends, yesterday I explained what is the difference between one to many and many to many relationship. Okay, except tumbling window, like we have scheduled trigger and event based trigger is a many to many relationship, and tumbling window is a one to one relationship. What is many to many relationship? You see, multiple triggers can kick off a single pipeline. I have a pipeline, one pipeline. I have created a multiple triggers, let's say 4 triggers. These 4 triggers I can attach to the same pipeline. Example, my trigger 1 is going to run at 6 o'clock. My trigger 2 is going to run at 12 o'clock. My trigger 3 is going to run at 18, right? So it is nothing but a 6 p.m. Next, my trigger 4 is going to run at something like, let's say 10 p.m. something. Right? Now these 4 triggers I can attach to the same pipeline. Now this pipeline is going to run how many times and what times it is going to run. My pipeline is going to run 4 times, and it is going to run morning 6, 12, evening 6 and 10, because those are the my assumption timings. I just imagine those are my timings, right? Next, that is one case. Here what happened, multiple triggers we attach to a same pipeline. Let's go to the another scenario where we have a single trigger which is going to run pipeline at 6 a.m. Now I have 3 pipelines. What I wanted to do, these 3 pipelines I want to run exactly at 6 a.m. What you can do, you can attach this trigger to same all these 3 pipelines. Now this trigger will run all these 3 pipelines at 6 a.m. IST. I'm repeating again, I have one trigger which is going to run pipeline at 6 a.m. and I have 3 pipelines P1, P2, P3. Now I will attach this trigger to P1, P2, P3. Now what happens, this trigger is going to run the pipelines at 6 a.m. So when the time is 6 a.m., immediately this trigger will run all these 3 pipelines. Now you understood, one trigger I am able to attach to multiple pipelines. Multiple triggers I can able to attach to a single pipeline. This is nothing but a many to many relationship, but this will work only for scheduled trigger and event based trigger. For tumbling window trigger, it will not work. For tumbling window, it will not work. For tumbling window, for each pipeline, you need to create a separate trigger. For each pipeline, you need to create a separate trigger. Remember, okay? What is event-based trigger? See, data integration scenarios often require data factory customers to trigger pipeline based on events such as arrival or deletion of a file in Azure storage account, because customers, they don't want to wait the process like defined time. Example, your customer says that I want to run pipeline at 6 a.m. If the file came at 5 o'clock, don't wait up to 6 o'clock. If the file came at 5 o'clock, start processing from 5 o'clock itself. So that is what the customer intention. So now how you can achieve these kind of things is, you need to monitor when file is coming. When file comes, immediately you can able to identify this particular file. Okay, then you start your pipeline. You need to identify whenever new file is uploaded into the blob storage, you need to identify, then you need to start your pipeline instead of scheduling. Scheduling means file will come at 5 o'clock, but your pipeline will run at 6 a.m. That is not, that is, customers are not expecting such type of things nowadays. Okay, next. An event-based trigger runs pipeline in response to an event such as the arrival of file or the deletion of file in Azure Blob Storage and Data Lake Storage Gen 2. Remember, okay? In both cases, it will work, not only for Azure Blob Storage. And as I mentioned, before you do any lab, before you do anything, what is important is, make sure your subscription is registered with the Event Grid resource provider, because this is the one which is responsible to do all the back-end processing, to do all this automation, right? So that's why we need to register our subscription with Event Grid. We are going to do that. Next, event trigger currently supports only Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2 and the general purpose version 2 storage account. Blob Storage V2 and the Data Lake Storage Gen 2, it will support both the storages. Next, you must have at least owner access to on the storage account. Okay, this is okay. By default, we have a owner access. Next, Azure Data Factory supports a maximum of 500 event triggers per storage, meaning you can create up to 500 event triggers, meaning 500 folders. If you want to monitor, you can able to monitor, but you can maintain, you can monitor more containers, more folders even, because we have a all containers option nowadays. Okay, but maximum of 500 event triggers you can create in a Azure Data Factory, remember. Okay, fine. So how to use event trigger capture properties? Next thing here, in previous slide, right? So you are thinking we have only 500 event triggers, but mostly these are more than enough for you. So don't think that is it possible to increase the event trigger, but because these are more than enough for us. How to use event trigger capture properties? What is capture properties? As we discussed, I want to get the whenever file is loaded, into which folder file is loaded, what is the folder name, folder path, next file name. So these two things I want to get dynamically. So you need to use two kind of syntax. One is these two, trigger.outputs.body.folder path, trigger.outputs.body.file name. This you can use. Next one is trigger body.folder path, trigger body.file name. So you can use these two, or you can use these two. Both will give you same result. If you use this folder path, if you use this one also will give folder path. If you use this file name, this will give you same file name. Okay. So today we are going to use those things as well. Next, overview diagram. So whenever some file is uploaded into the blob storage v2, my pipeline will run. Whenever some file is deleted or uploaded into data lake storage gen2, same, this also will trigger my pipeline. Prerequisite, we should know what is Azure SQL database, blob storage, Azure Key Vault, and event based trigger, because these four are the main resources and Azure Data Factory. And once we have Data Factory, we are going to create the integration runtime and the linked service, data sets, activities, and the pipelines. Okay, we also already know all of those things. Required resources are Azure Data Factory v2. And what are the required resources, friends? What are the required resources? Tell me. Yesterday we have discussed, right? So required resources are basically Azure Data Factory v2, storage account, Azure Data Lake Storage gen2, Key Vault, and what else?
Register.
Yeah.
Tell me. So required resources are Azure Data Factory v2, storage account v2, because Azure Data Factory v2 we are using. Next, storage account v2 and the data lake storage gen2. Then if you want to, let's say if you want to move these particular files into SQL database or something, you can also use the SQL database. Okay, but anyhow we are not using SQL database in this particular lab. Next, you see here Key Vault. So Key Vault we are going to use. Key Vault we are going to use today to connect to the your storage account. Maybe it can be data lake storage gen2 or blob storage v2. Okay, fine. So ultimately what I am going to do in today lab is, so whenever some file is uploaded into my blob storage, I will read this particular file. Okay, I will read this particular file and I will copy this data into my Azure SQL database. Okay, I will read this particular file and I will load it into Azure SQL database. In the same way, whenever some file is uploaded into Azure Data Lake Storage gen2, I will read this particular file and loaded it into the Azure SQL database. Okay, understood, friends? Same thing, whenever some file is deleted, maybe you can trigger a notification, but you know already sending notification. So whenever some file is deleted, what I wanted to do, maybe you can say copying data in reverse way, maybe. Okay, something like that, we can able to put all those things. Yeah, let's do the lab now. Okay, these are the slides I have. Now we'll see. Let's go to the portal. Okay, here you can say portal.azure.com. Let me quickly create all of those resources. Okay, so you know I am going to create a multiple resources. Let me open the portal in multiple tabs quickly. It will not take much time. I'll just take very few minutes, less than 3 minutes I will take to create all of those things. Just click on Azure SQL database. Click add to create the SQL database. Let's select your, let's create a new resource group. Cloud Pandit BI master program. Okay. So you know database name, I will say Cloud Pandit SQL DB. Server name I can say Cloud Pandit SQL Server. Cloud Pandit SQL Server. Username I'm entering here. Password. Both the same. So I am creating server in East-US. Click OK. Remaining things, you know, elastic pool, sharing the resources between the databases. Here we have a purchasing models, DTU and the V4. So I'm going with the DTUs, database transaction units. With this, just click review plus create. Click create. Okay. So now what happens? Your database will deploy. Come here. Let's create your storage account. Just click on storage account to create your blob storage and data lake storage into. You understood, friends? My first lab is I'm going to, whenever some file is loaded into blob storage v2, this file I will copy into the SQL database. Whenever some file is deleted from the blob storage v2, this particular, in that case, what I'm going to do, I'm going to simply execute some wait activity. Okay, just to make sure that our pipeline is executing. What activities we have inside, that is not we don't require those things, right? Next thing, what I wanted to do, maybe you can say next scenario where data lake storage gen 2, whenever some file is uploaded into data lake storage gen 2, that particular file you need to copy into the your SQL database. In the same way, whenever some file is deleted from the data lake storage gen 2, what you need to do, you need to execute wait activity. Okay, let's create the data lake storage. First, let's create blob storage v2, friends. I created SQL database. I'm creating now blob storage v2. Okay, just click here, select this, and storage account name is basically, you can say Cloud Pandit blob v2. How it is a blob v2? You see, it's a v2 I'm using, and if you are not doing anything, it will create the blob storage v2, because by default it will be a flat file structure. If you are using hierarchical namespace, then it will create the data lake storage. That is the difference between blob storage and data lake storage. In data lake storage, it's a hierarchical structure. What is hierarchical structure? You can able to create subfolders, all those things. You'll have a multiple folders you can able to create. Come to third tab. I think this tab opened wrongly. Let's open again. Here, let me create the blob storage v2. Here, let's create our Azure data factory. And what else is pending? Final thing that is pending is Azure keyword. Okay, so in respective folders, I will create respective things. Come here, let's click on storage account to create your data lake storage gen 2. Let's click add to create the storage account. I don't know why it will not work sometimes. One second, let me just. Okay. So let me just create data lake storage gen 2. So don't worry, those are basically what happens. I have pay as you go subscription. By default, it will go to the pay as you go subscription. Okay. So as I have free trial, I am trying to use the free trial. Okay, so free trial. Let's select resource group is existing resource group, that is this, and here you need to set say Cloud Pandit ADL less Gen 2 data lake storage Gen 2 networking. Click all of these things. In advanced, come down. You see here hierarchical namespace. You need to enable. If it is a data lake storage Gen 2, it should be hierarchical namespace. It's not a flat file structure. That's why you need to enable. Just click review plus create. Create it. Come here. Let's click on data factories. Click add to create the data factory. This is also pay as you go. See, pay as you go subscription, right? So I don't want to use the pay as you go. I'm just switching to the free trial. Okay, free trial is here. Just click on data factories. Click add to create the data factories. Free trial, you know, resource group is I will use existing one, and name is just give Cloud Pandit BI AD of V2. Okay, it is available. Git configuration we will do later. Just click review plus create. Click review. Click create. Now click here. Let's open portal.azure.com. So here what we need to do. So Azure keyword we need to create finally, right? Let's create Azure keyword also, because even if it is taking little bit more time, let's try to use all the resources that we will use in real time, because in interview you will not forget. So if I use in only one session, maybe you will forget, right? So these are the things that we are going to use regularly in our real time. That's why keyword we will try to use daily. This is the keyword Cloud Pandit AKV to AKV2 something name I have given. This name also somebody has taken. You can say BI AKV2 Business Intelligence Program AKV2. Yes, it is available. Click access policies. As we discussed, you need to add Azure Data Factory here so that Azure Data Factory can able to read all the secrets that you are storing in your keyword. So what is the data factory name? Okay, so if you want to know the data factory name, so this is the name I have given for my data factory. Just select that and click add access policies. Now click on this. So I'm allowing my Azure Data Factory to read key secret certificate management that we have discussed, and I'm allowing everything like all the access that I have for key secret certificate. I'm allowing. Click none selected. If you select here, it will ask you to select the resource, to which resource you want to grant the permission. To this data factory I want to grant the permission. Selected. Click select. Come down. Click add. Finally review plus create. So now my question to all of you is, what is the risk? What is the first thing that we need to do before we go with our event triggers? So we have used the right event grid. We need to register with our subscription. Okay, that is the main thing that we need to do. Okay, see from here, so our lab will start. Okay, so first thing that you need to do before you get started with your lab is you need to register your subscription. Go to subscriptions. So which subscription we are using currently? We are using free trial. Just click on free trial subscription. Then come down here. You see something called resource providers. Okay, just click on resource providers. Click here. Okay, filter by name. So here I will say event grid. See here I have an event grid. Select that name. So when I select, see one option came here, register. Click register to register this particular event grid. Okay, so it is registering now. It is registering. It will take approximately 1 minute to fully register. Don't worry. So it will show something like that, but it will register now. Okay, in some time we can able to see it is registered. Option is registered. We will be able to see in some time. Let's register completely, then we will go, because later if it is not registered, we need to come back and again everything will confuse you, right? So that's why let's wait until this registration is finished. But see, this refresh is not working properly. Let's do one thing. Click on new option, some other option, anywhere you can click and come back to the resource provider again. Okay, when you came here, you just try with event grid. So here now the status you see registering. So as I explained, so it will take some 1 minute to fully register. Okay, so let's wait, friends. Let's do same thing. Just click somewhere, come back to the resource provider, because the status it is not updating when I click refresh. So let's check here, event grid. So what it is now? Now it is registered or not? Yes, it is registered. This is the first thing that we need to do before we do the lab. Okay, fine. Now let's what we wanted to do. First thing is our prerequisite. One of the prerequisite is completed. Now I need to develop the pipeline. Then I need to create an event trigger to run this particular pipeline without manual intervention. Now I need to do a pipeline. I need to implement pipeline. But what this pipeline is going to do? This pipeline is basically going to copy data from blob storage to the SQL database. So here, come to blob storage, go to resource. Okay, to connect to the blob storage from Azure Data Factory, what I need is I need a connection string. So SaaS authentication we have used shared access signature. Let's go with the access key today. So in access key, you need to take the connection string. We have two connection strings. You can take any of the connection string will work. Copy this connection string to connect to the blob storage v2 from Azure Data Factory. But are you going to hard code this thing in Azure Data Factory? No, I'm not going to hard code this information in Azure Data Factory. Instead of that, I want to keep this information in my keyword. So that's why go to keyword, go to resource, click on what is this? This is basically secrets. Click on secrets, click generate / import manual trigger. This is basically what happens is here you need to say blob connection. I'm saying blob connection string. Let's paste this particular connection string here and you can create it because remaining things we discussed. Okay, this is the one thing you stored. Second thing, now this is my source. From blob storage, I need to read the data, then I need to load data into my database. How to do that? See to the SQL. What we need to do, friends, we need to turn on the firewall. Click set server firewall. Come down. See, this is the IP address. Okay, so I need to add the client IP. So just click add client IP. See, client IP added. Second, very important thing, if you're not allowing Azure services, will keep on changing. So that's why you need to turn on this save it. So an IP address, once you have done these two things, it is registering IP address. Fail to override what it is overwriting. Okay, let's do one thing. Everybody is able to hear me now, friends? Can you confirm able to hear me now because I switched in the network?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's better now, Malia.
Okay, then thank you. Immediately let me know, friends, because if you're not able to hear me, you cannot understand the concepts. Okay, so I will try my best. Okay, see now the client IP and I need to turn on these things, add client IP, then turn on this, save it. I think due to network issue, it is not saved. See, now it is saved. So I think there was a network issue previously. Fine. Now later you need to take this server name. How to connect to this server? So by using Azure Data Studio, we are connecting daily. So click here. So it is going to give you options. So I'll just paste my server name, SQL login. I will just enter my username, password. My database name is Cloud Pandit SQL DB. I click connect. What it is saying? Oh, I switched the network again, right? See, I switched the network now, right? So that's why I need to add this new client IP. Just click add client IP, save it. You understood, friends? I switched the network. That's why IP address has changed. Okay, now I updated that IP address. Now come back. Now click connect once again. Now you will be successfully connected to the SQL database. Yes, you are successfully connected. Now, if you look at the tables, you will not have any tables because we did not create any tables. Okay, let's do one thing. We know how to create tables directly from the Azure Data Factory, so that we will do from the Azure Data Factory itself. Okay, come back. So my source is blob storage, my sink is SQL database. You need to keep in mind my source is blob storage v2, my target, my sink is SQL database. In SQL database side, I am not creating any table. In blob storage side, I am going to create some container. Let's go here. Click on overview. Click on these containers. Click container. Here you can say this is basically Cloud Pandit. Okay, so my container name is what? Cloud Pandit. I'm creating. Fine. My source side, I created a folder called Cloud Pandit. Inside this, I don't have any file. Whenever some file loaded into this particular container, I want to run pipeline. That is my target. So whenever some file loaded into this folder, that file I need to copy immediately into SQL database. Okay, that is my second target. Now go to Data Factory to do all these things. Okay, click on overview. See, my Data Factory is ready. Just click and go to resource. Now click author and monitor. Okay, so now you need to respond quickly and tell me, friends, how to create the what we need to do. First thing is we need to create the two linked services. One is for blob storage, one is for the SQL database. But before you do that, in order to read the secrets, what we need to do, we need to create the Azure keyword linked service. But before you go and create Azure keyword linked service, we forgot to one thing. What we forgot to do? Can you tell me? So we saved the blob connection string, but the SQL database connection string we have not saved. Now go back to SQL database, click on a connection string. Okay, this is the connection string I need to copy. This I will paste into Azure keyword. Okay, so before we paste it into Azure keyword, we need to update our phone number in this particular connection string, because in that connection string we will have server name, database name, username and everything, but we will not have a password. So I need to update the password. Just let me open Notepad, then I will keep it in the keyword. Okay, I hope you are not confusing. I just forgot to keep the SQL database. Okay, this is the one. See, here I need to update the password. Okay, I'm just updating the password. So let me just update the password. Okay, I just updated. I have copied everything. Okay, now come here, click on generate/import. Here you can say SQL DB connection. You can say here you paste it, create it. So now I have my source and destination connection strings. Go to your data factory. Now, first thing that you need to do, in order to connect to the SQL database and blob storage, you need some kind of a secrets. Those secrets we have in the key vault. To read those key vault secrets, you need to connect to the key vault first. Click on new, search for Azure key vault. Click continue. Here just select subscription, your Azure key vault name, and test the connection. Connection is successful, created. Okay, now second thing that you need to do is, if you want to use this connection string, you need to publish this change, meaning you need to publish this particular linked service, then only you can able to use this particular linked service in other linked service. Okay, that's why it's mandated that you need to publish this particular linked service. Once it is published, now you can create the linked service for your blob storage. Select blob storage. You can say here it's basically ls Azure blob storage. By using account key or what? By using account key only, I am using connection string, but this connection string I want to read it from the Azure key vault. So just select this Azure key vault. Okay, so secret name. Okay, I forgot to use the name. Okay, that's fine. Azure key vault linked service, we know. Secret name, what is the secret name? Come here. So your blob connection string name is this one. Copy this, come here, give the secret name here, test connection. Connection is successful, you can create it. Now let's create a new linked service that is for the blob storage, right? So I created the linked service for my source. I'm creating linked service for my target. Now click continue. This is what this is, ls Azure SQL DB, and you know Azure like auto resolve integration and same connection string I want to use, but not directly. I don't want to hardcode here. I want to read it from the Azure key vault. Use the Azure key vault linked service. Secret name, what is the secret name? Secret name is this one, right? Copy this, paste the secret name here, test connection. Connection will be successful created. Okay, successful created. Okay, now come to author tab. In author tab, what I wanted to do, I want to develop a pipeline. Okay, just create a pipeline directly, as we know. In this, we can say this is PL for data movement from SQL DB to blob. PL for data SQL DB to blob. Sorry, blob to SQL DB. Blob to SQL DB. Okay, just select it. Okay. Now I need to drag the copy data activity to copy data from my source to target. What is my source? Come here. What is my source, friends? My source is blob storage. Select blob storage, click continue. So what kind of files you want to upload? Let's go with CSV. Let's say this one, I can say this is data set, right? ds underscore Azure blob storage. Okay, I'm creating the data set for blob storage. Okay, let's check it once again. Click new. See blob storage, I'm selecting, click continue. So what type of file it is? CSV. Select continue. Here I need to say it's a data set ds for Azure blob storage. This is my source. Just saying source. Linked services, this is the linked service I'm using, and the container name and file name I want to pass dynamically. That's why I'm not selecting. Select first as that, click OK. Okay, I selected my source data set. Let's select your sync data set. Click new. Azure, it's your sync is SQL database. Select SQL database, click continue. This is basically ds for Azure SQL DB as your sync. Linked service is this, and the table name is, so table name also, let's say I want to pass dynamic. Okay, just select it. Okay, let's create a some kind of a variables for this also. Parameter, data set parameter. Click OK. So I'm not selecting table. So now go to your data sets. Let's go to the source data set first. How to create data set parameter? Click on source data set parameters. What we need two parameters. One is folder name, second one is file name. These two things where we need to use, go to connection. At container, we need to use the folder name, select folder name. At file name, we need to select the file name. Okay, let's select here file name. Click container. Okay, this is done. Let's go to the sync data set now. Click on parameters, click new two parameters. One is schema name, second one is here it's a table name. Okay, now come to connection, then here click edit. Here we need to select the schema name. We know schema, whatever schema you are giving, with that it will create the table. In that schema it will create the table. Okay, schema name, table name, I want to pass dynamic. Now go to your pipeline. See here, sync side schema name and table name you need to pass, source side folder name and file name you need to pass. Now click on this canvas, just to drag it little bit up. Here you need to open 4 parameters, pipeline parameters. First PP is pipeline parameters, basically for folder name. Okay, next PP is for file name. Okay, next PP for schema name. Next PP for table. Okay, table. Now these pipeline parameters I need to use in the data sets. Come here, click on folder name, click dynamic content. What I need to use here, folder name, select folder. File name, let's click here, file name. What is the file name here? This is the file name unit is. Go to sync side, let's use this. Sync side schema name is this. Okay, next table name is this. Table name is this. Now in interview, one of the question, see, please try to note down interview questions. So one of the interview question that recently I have received is, people will ask how you will use your pipeline parameter. What is the syntax? Remember, if you are trying to use a pipeline parameter, at the rate pipeline dot parameters dot parameter name, at the rate pipeline dot parameters dot parameter name. Okay, you need to give. Now when you try to debug this, what happens is it is going to give you, it will ask you to provide all these things. I don't want to provide all these things. Okay, so next thing, if you look at this, right, so we don't have this table, target table available, so I want to create a table automatically, auto create table. That is one thing. Okay, let's publish all, because what happens is if you refresh or something, all these changes will go. I don't want to lose any of this change, so that's why we are going. See, auto create table also enabled, and I'm publishing with this. So only the pending task that we have is we need to create the trigger. Okay, so now I want to create the trigger. How to create trigger? See, when I click debug, you have seen, right? So it is asking all these values. Now what I want to do, I want to create a trigger. The trigger will pass the values to all these pipeline parameters. Click add trigger, click new/edit trigger. Here click new trigger. This is the new trigger I want to create. This is, you can say, Cloud Pandit event trigger. So what type of trigger you want? We are going with the event trigger, but tomorrow and day after tomorrow we'll discuss this. Subscription is this. Storage account name is what? Cloud Pandit blob feed. So this is the storage we are monitoring currently. So in this, what are the containers we have? Just click on this drop down, it will show you the containers we have. So I want to monitor only container, that is Cloud Pandit. Whenever some file uploaded into Cloud Pandit folder, I want to respond. Just select this. Then, so what is the blob path ends with? What type of files, for what type of files you want to respond? For .csv files, I want to respond. So I'm saying here .csv. Next, blob created, blob deleted. Whenever file is uploaded, okay, whenever file is deleted, I want to respond. Okay, whenever file is deleted, whenever file is uploaded, I want to respond. Next, ignore empty blobs. Whenever you uploaded a 0 bytes empty files, I don't want to run a pipeline, then you have to click yes. Even if the file is empty, you want to run a pipeline, then you need to select no. Okay. If you want to ignore the pipeline execution in case of empty files, then you need to click yes. Next, do you want to activate this trigger immediately? Yes, I want to activate this trigger immediately. Click continue. Don't know the reason for this. Okay, just click continue. Okay, here what happens is it is going to show you all the parameters, but it is not showing for now. So don't confuse. I'm going to open this same trigger again because at one time it is some issue with Azure Data Factory. This is not showing fully. Click OK. Now what you need to do, just click new/edit, click on this trigger itself. Okay, now I provided all the details. If you want to review, click continue. This time it will not show all those issues. So window will be fine now. So window is fine. Now you see we are monitoring this Cloud Pandit folder. In this I'm looking for the .csv files. Click continue, and here you need to provide the folder name, file name. How to get the folder name dynamically? We discussed, right? Something like trigger body dot folder name. Please let me know if I make any mistakes, because it will confuse you again and again if you execute. Trigger body dot file name. Okay, so schema name I will say, I will hard code because it's not coming dynamically, right? So next what I want to do, based on the file name, I want to create my table. So I'll just pass exactly with the file name. I want to create the table name. So that's why just I am passing my file name as a table name. Understood, friends? Click OK. Now I'm just publishing, just publish all, click publish. So now you understood, friends, how I have created the trigger. Now I have attached same trigger to the pipeline. Okay. Now I have attached that particular trigger to the pipeline as well. Now what we need to do? We need to go to blob storage and let's try to upload some CSV files. Whenever we upload some CSV files, our pipeline should run. Let's try to do that. Click on this, go inside this folder. I'm going to upload the files. Click upload. Click here. Let's go to desktop. Cloud Pandit datasets, CSV files, custard.csv I'm uploading. Upload it, click upload. Okay, now go to Data Factory. Let's check our pipeline is running or not. Come to monitor tab. See in real time all your pipelines you need to monitor from the monitor tab. Press this. See what happened? Our pipeline got failed, but trigger type is blob event trigger, and this is the trigger. Trigger name, the status is failed. I think this trigger was not created properly. So that's why our pipeline did not run. So that is trigger runs. If I come to manage tab, why the trigger was not saved properly, go to triggers. Let's see the status. Status is started, related is 1. That's okay. Here everything is fine. Let's go to monitor tab again. Wait, is showing trigger runs. Is showing some error. Let's click on message to see the error message. The template language expression trigger body dot folder name cannot be evaluated because folder name does not exist. Available properties are run token. One second. We have captured properties. trigger spelling mistake or what? Trigger body dot folder path. Folder, not folder name, it's a folder path, right? So that is the mistake we have done. Okay, that's what I was asking you. That's okay. Come to manage tab. Now we can correct those changes. Okay. Now click on this trigger. Now we can edit. Okay. How to edit? Click continue. Click OK. So, not here. Come to author tab. Sorry. Click here trigger because you have created these parameters in this pipeline, right? New / edit. Click on this trigger. This trigger we need to edit. Click continue. Click continue. Here we need to change this. It's not a folder name. It's a folder path. Don't confuse. You need to give here. It's a folder path. This should be a file name. Let's check 1 or 2 times. See any mistake. See file name. Understood? So now it should work. Now we'll see. Let's do publish. But before I publish, okay, let's publish. Now what happens for for custody.csv, it will not respond again because that file was already uploaded. Now I will upload new file. Whenever I upload new file, whether it is responding or not, we will check. You understood, friends? So that parameter name was wrong. So instead of folder name, folder path, I mentioned folder name. So instead of folder path, I mentioned folder name. Deployed on one resource. Let it publish. Publishing is completed. Now come to same folder. See in Cloud Pandit folder, this customer CS already uploaded. Now it is not going to respond again. It is responded. It got failed. Now let's upload again. Let's try to upload a new file. That is the EMP file I am uploading. Click upload. New file is uploaded. Come here. Go to monitor tab. See, our pipeline is already succeeded. Previously it got failed, but this time the pipeline is succeeded. Let's go to the storage account. Let's check EMP file is there or not. Select star from EMP. Click. Let's check the table name, okay? Because we don't know what is the table name, right? So I think table name is not exist. Let's check what is the table name. See, dbo.emp.csv. Because the table name, it is going to be emp.csv. Click on. It's an invalid table. So in this case, what you need to do, you need to put something like this and this. Okay. So whenever you have dot or something, you need to select, you need to put that table name in a square bracket. Okay. Now you see, this is the file which I have uploaded. This data came here. Now I will try to upload a new file. I will try to upload another file. We'll see that. Okay. Now come to blob storage. Let me just click upload. Click here. Let's try to upload new file. That is, I'm just uploading pipeline file 1. Okay. Just upload this. File is uploaded. Now come to the data factory. Refresh this pipeline. Okay, I am in the pipeline runs. Go to pipeline runs. See, your third pipeline is running. So this is succeeded. This is the one which is ran just now. 8.7. You can say 8.7 just now it ran. Okay. So if you go to trigger runs, here you will have all the failed plus succeeded everything. Even you can filter out from there. But see, the recent one is also succeeded. Now go to the database. Right click on this. Click refresh. To check, see pipeline file 1.csv. It came or not? It came. Okay. If you want to check what kind of data you have here, you can check pipeline file 1.csv. Click run. See, this is the data we have. Because we are not using pipe delimiter, that's why entire data is loaded into a single column. Okay. But this processing we need to take care because we will have a same type of data which is going to arrive daily, so we will not have this kind of issues. Okay, let's say come here, blob storage. I am trying to do one more thing, that is upload. I want to upload the existing file once again with a update something. What happens in that case? We'll try to see. Comma separated first file I'm uploading, but this time I'm overwriting. Overwrite if file already exists. Click overwrite, click upload. Just I uploaded, re-uploaded. You see the time is 8:08. Now we'll see whether pipeline will execute or not. It should execute. Now you see pipeline already executed again. 8:35. Now we should be able to see customer table as well in our tables list. It will come down to a say cust.csv file came. Understood? But here if you see the data will be fine because it's a comma separated. We designed the pipeline to read the CSV files. Okay, if you want to read the pipe separated CSV files, then we need to handle in a different way. But we mainly designed our pipeline to read comma separated CSV files. That's why EMP and cust is fine, but pipeline.csv it is coming in a all the data is showing in a single column. Okay, but we are able to understand that pipeline is executing whenever I upload the file into blob storage. Now I will try to delete it. So when I try to delete it, what happens is it is going to respond. But when I delete it, what happens? What happens when I delete it? Okay, so we'll do one thing. I will create a new pipeline. Come to maybe author tab. So I will just create a new pipeline which is going to have only wait activity. What you can put here is you can put something called web activity to trigger a notification whenever some file is deleted. But let me just to show you, let me just use the wait activity. Okay, so wait activity which is going to wait for maybe you can say some 40 seconds. Okay, this is my second pipeline. You just click on this. PL for blob deletion check. Deletion check. Okay, fine. Now we'll see whether this particular pipeline is going to run or not whenever something is deleted. Add trigger. Let's create a new trigger, new/edit trigger. Okay, this is the Cloud Pandit event trigger. I don't want to use this. I want to create a new trigger. This I can say Cloud Pandit. Cloud Pandit event trigger 2. Okay, let's select event trigger. Subscription is this. Storage account is block v2. Here container, which container I want to monitor this. Whenever .csv file says only deleted. Okay, only deleted. I want to exclude this. Click. So here you see ignore empty blobs. Okay, here also I am ignoring the empty files, but this will not be a problem for me because I'm not saying whenever file uploaded I need to run this particular pipeline. I'm not saying that. Click continue, click continue, click OK. But again we need to open this trigger due to some data factory issue. Click on this to see our parameters. Click continue, click OK. So here you see you don't have any pipeline parameters. That's why it is not showing any pipeline parameters. You understood? This pipeline has no parameters. You see it is saying this pipeline does not have any parameters. So we have not created any pipelines for this, so it will not respond. Now you understood? Now let's publish all. Click publish. So don't confuse. Now what happens when I delete? Two pipelines are going to run. What is the reason for this? Because I have two triggers which are going to respond on deletion of a file in blob storage. Okay, two pipelines will respond because if you remember when I created my trigger 1, there also I mentioned on deletion of file I should run my pipeline 1 as well. Okay, so that's why when I delete some file, my pipeline 1 also will run. So click OK, delete it, come to monitor tab. Now pipeline 1 and pipeline 2 both will run now. See now, this is the like Cloud Pandit trigger 2, which is succeeded. Go to pipeline runs to see what is the status of these two pipelines. See, we know, right, why it is failed? Because it will fail in this case whenever some file is deleted. So how you can copy the data? So that's why it is failed. That's why what we have done, we have created a new pipeline. Okay, as I said, see, this is also picked. Why this is also picked? Why this is also picked? Because when we have created this trigger 1, so at that time we mentioned on failure, on deletion of the file also, I want to, on deletion of the file also, I want to run this particular pipeline. That's why it got failed. Now you see, on deletion of the file, I want to run this particular second pipeline. Second pipeline is running, but this second pipeline is running, what it is running inside? It is running a wait activity. Wait activity we configured up to 40 seconds. So once 40 seconds is over, this pipeline will succeed. See, at 42 seconds it took to succeed. Why this pipeline is succeeded? Because in this pipeline, even though if the file is deleted, we will not have much impact on this particular pipeline. But in this particular pipeline, it will fail because whenever something is deleted, you will not get the file names and all those things. Now you see, what is the reason for failure is, see what it is saying, operation target copy data 1. So container name this one, required blob is missing. So what happens whenever you uploaded the file, that file it will try to read, but when you delete the file, what file it will read? With same file name, it will try to read the data, but with same file name, you don't have any file in the blob storage. That's why it is saying blob is missing. We know it is going to fail, that's why it got failed. But you have seen, pipeline is responding for two events. One is whenever some file is uploaded, whenever some file is deleted. Okay, now if you understood the concept, now you need to tell me, when I uploaded some new file into my blob storage, now what will happen? I have two pipelines. What pipelines will run when I upload a new file into the blob storage? Remember, only this particular pipeline will run, because see, this particular pipeline is having trigger 1, this particular pipeline is having trigger 2. In trigger 1, you have configured two things: when blob is created, when blob is deleted. In this trigger, you configured only when blob is deleted. That's why whenever you uploaded a file, only this particular pipeline will respond. Only this particular pipeline will respond. Let's see now. Come here. So just to verify, just to check, because I'm going to upload a custom.csv file. Let's drop the custom.csv file here to see whether it is working or not. Drop table custom.csv, it is dropped. Now right click on this table, refresh this table, you check here, custom.csv file is gone. Now come back. Now I'm going to upload the file into container. So when I upload custom.csv file in this, upload. Okay, now I uploaded. This particular pipeline should run now to load this custom.csv file into the SQL database. It is running. This pipeline is running. See, this is completed. This is completed. Now what you need to do, let's go to this tool, refresh and check once again whether you got the table or not. Yes, you got the table. Let's say select start from, and run it. See, you are able to see the 1 to 5 records. Okay, customer file is having 1 to 5 records. Those 5 records you are able to see. Fine. Now my next question to all of you is, when I added the file, when I upload new file into blob storage, out of these two pipelines, which pipeline is going to run? Please tell me once again. I'm asking same question.
First pipeline.
Sure, Parmesh. Which pipeline is going to run when I upload a new file? See, I will show you one more thing. See, in this particular pipeline, what you are using, click on trigger, click new/edit trigger. So this is the trigger which is which is created and attached to this particular pipeline. Open this trigger. You see, when file is uploaded, when file is deleted. In these two cases, this pipeline is going to respond. Okay. If I uncheck this, see, if I uncheck this, what happens? This particular pipeline will respond only for when file is uploaded. Just click continue, click OK, and just publish it. Now, can you tell me, when I upload the file, what pipeline will execute? When I delete the file, what pipeline will execute? If you want to see whether in this pipeline how the trigger is configured, click on triggers, click new/trigger, click on this trigger. This is a Cloud Pandit trigger to you. Here you can see it is only for blob deleted. Click continue, click OK. Now you come here, and here you see this is basically for blob creation. Now you understood. So what is happening in these two cases? Here, when blob is when file is uploaded, this pipeline will run. When file is deleted, this pipeline will run. Just click publish on now. So now my question is, everybody's clear on this? Next question is, you see, this should be very clear. Once you are clear on this, then only you can able to understand remaining things. So what I'm saying is, now you know, when I upload the file, what pipeline will run? Again and again I am asking, there is a reason behind that. Please confirm or chat window, friends. What pipeline will run when I upload a new file into the blob storage out of these two?
Blob SQL.
Which one? Blob pipeline. This is also blob deletion check.
Blob SQL DB.
Very good. So blob SQL DB, right? This is correct. Okay, this is correct. Now my question is, when I upload empty file, will this pipeline run or not? Okay, let's go and check the configurations. Click on trigger, click/edit trigger, click on this. See what I'm saying? Ignore empty blobs, meaning whenever I see a empty file, ignore those things. Don't respond for such type of files. So what it means, whenever I upload the 0-byte files, like that is nothing but a empty files, my pipeline will not run. Let me show you. Okay, this is the empty file. This file I'm saving as a CSV. Click on desktop, empty CSV dot empty dot CSV, okay. Click save. Now come here. Okay, now you are clear. Come to, yeah, one more thing that I need to show you. See here, right click on this file, go to properties. So here you see the size is 0-byte, isn't it, friends? The size is 0-byte. You should have a 0-byte file, remember. So on desktop I have file. That file I am going to upload now. Just select this, select, go to desktop, empty, right? Just search for empty. See empty.csv, click open, click upload. Okay, file is added, empty.csv. Now come here, go to monitor tab and check. Nothing is going to happen now. At 8:22, there is no pipeline is running here. You see, there is no pipeline running at 8:22. Okay, now for same file, this time I'll just say 1, 2, 3, or you can say something CID name 1. Okay, this is the only one record I'm adding. So I have some data. Now I'm going to upload same file with some data now. Now what will happen? We'll see. Click on override because the file is already existed. Now I uploaded the file. This time you check the file size here, 25 bytes. Now come to Azure Data Factory, click refresh. See pipeline in progress, 8:22, 8:23. You understood now what happened here? Whenever I upload the 0-byte file, my pipeline is not responding. Okay, second thing, let's see new thing. That is when I upload empty file, okay, this is clear, right? Everybody's clear, friends. Now I am showing you clearly, right? Clear, Parmesh, Avinash, Chaitanya,
Yeah,
Nagaraj.
clear, Malay.
Yes, Malaya, clear. We are clear.
Thank you, Devendra. Bhargav, Bhaskar. Okay, fine. So now let's quickly do, like, just give me 10 more minutes. Let's same thing. Let me replicate for the data lake storage Gen 2. Go to resource. See, for data lake storage Gen 2 also, Parmesh, you can observe here for data lake storage. So my intention now, I'm going to develop a new pipeline which is going to copy data from data lake storage Gen 2 to the SQL database. So this is the data lake storage Gen 2. Go to access case. Take the connection string from this data lake storage Gen 2 and keep it in the Azure keyword. That's what I wanted to do now. Okay, copy this connection string. Okay, I copied that connection string. Now go to Azure keyword. Let's click generate/import. Okay, here I will say it's a ADLS connection. Let me just keep the connection string here. Create it. Now I create it. Now come to, like, you understood the Parmesh clear till here. I uploaded it. Now come to
Yeah,
data.
Malaya.
Come to manage. Okay, I'm going to create a new linker service, right? New. This is basically, oh sorry, it's not a trigger. I want to create new linker service. See, I'm at trigger. Go to linker service. Click new linker service. This is basically for data lake storage Gen 2. Just say here data lake storage. See, data lake storage Gen 1, Gen 2. We have to select data lake storage Gen 2. Continue. This is what this say. How come for data lake storage Gen 2 they are not allowing the linker service? There is no keyword option. Let's cancel it. You should have keyword option for all the services. How come data lake storage Gen 2 does not have that? Yeah, see, enter manually. You have Azure keyword. Only storage account key you can able to take, not entire connection string. Okay, that's okay. We'll try to do one thing. Let's go with the manual, like manual without using the keyword now. Okay, so I'm surprising here. Okay, fine. Linker service for Azure blob storage, Azure data lake storage Gen 2. I'll just say ADLS Gen 2 linker service for Azure data lake storage and account key. So let me just, without using Azure keyword, I'm connecting now. Okay, because if you are trying with enter manually, you need to give the URL, then you can just read the key from the keyword, but the entire connection string should be allowed from the keyword. Okay, maybe that improvement they may do soon. Okay, fine. Let me just go with the manual, then create it. So you know, test connection, you can test the connection. Let's test the connection. Go here and once again click test connection. Once connection is successful, yeah, connection is successful, you can test it. Okay, now come to author tab once again. Let's create a pipeline. This pipeline, I'll just say that this pipeline is for PL for data, PL for data ADLS Gen 2 to SQL DB. Okay. Now bring the copy data activity. So sync side, I'm going to use the same thing. Okay, sync side, I will use the same data set. See, even I have a schema name and table name parameters. I will use the same sync data set. Source data set is, my source is changed. That's why I need to create a new data set. This is for data lake storage gen 2. Click continue. So basically, what type of files? Let's try to upload JSON files this time. Okay, let's click continue. This is DS for Azure data lake storage gen 1 as a source. Okay, linked service is this, and file system. So we have not created any folder in it. So I want to receive this folder name and file name dynamically. Click none. Click OK. Now go to your data lake storage gen 1 source data set. Let's create a parameters. Two parameters we need to create. That is folder path, file name. Okay, these two things we need to use in the connection. As we know, file system is this. Come down, folder path, click here, click add dynamic content, file name, click finish. Okay, come to, yeah, the remaining things are same. Go to this particular pipeline. You see here I have two parameters. Here you see I have it two parameters. For these four parameters, I need to create a four pipeline parameters. Okay, let's create a four pipeline parameters. I can say here pp folder name, pp file name, pp schema name, pp table, okay, pp table name. Now with these four parameters, I can go and run the pipeline. But what I wanted to do, I need to create some container in a data lake storage gen 2. Go to overview. See, this is a ADLS gen 2. Click on containers. Click on container. Here you should say that it's can say something input. Whatever you want to use, you can use. Okay. Let's say this is my input container. Inside this, whenever some file uploaded, I want to respond. Okay, input is my container. With that, come here. Let's create a new trigger. Add trigger, new / edit trigger. Trigger is new trigger. See, I have trigger 1 and trigger 2. Let's create a new trigger. This is for Cloud Pandit trigger 3. Cloud Pandit trigger event trigger. Let's select all the subscription. Storage account name is which one? Data lake storage gen 2. Container name is what? Container name is input. You see, blob path begins and end. End is always .json. If I have a .json file, for those things I want to respond. Whenever file is created, if the file is deleted, I don't want to respond. The file is uploaded, then only I want to run the pipeline. Okay, so ignore empty blobs. Okay, whenever I uploaded the empty files, I don't want to run the pipeline. In two cases, I'm not running pipeline. Whenever file is deleted, whenever file uploaded with 0 bytes. Okay, click continue. Yeah, see, you see activated pipeline, like trigger is activated. Click continue, click continue, click OK. So I think issue from Azure Data Factory. Okay, that's why we need to do second time. Click on this trigger. Click continue. So in input folder, we are monitoring for the .json files. Click continue. Here we need to put all the parameters. Here I can say trigger body. So please check from your end. If you are fine, please let me know, friends. But this is the issue. If you are facing, please let me know. We can write a note to like Microsoft. Okay. So we have different ways. They will respond in 24 hours. You can try all those things. Okay? So what happened? Trigger body, here also trigger body dot file name. So that should be folder path. Here this schema is going to be dbo. Same as a file name, I want to pass my table name is also same as my file name. Click OK. Okay, then click on this copy activity. This particular table is not exist. I want to create this table. How to create table? Then you can publish all these things. What did I say? No. value provided for parameter file name. Here it is. Oh, right. So what we have not done is we forgot to use those parameters. Here you see, here we need to use pipeline parameters, right? Folder path means what we need to give? pp folder name. File name means, so these parameters also please remember friends, pipeline dot parameter name, pp file name. Next come here, schema name at the rate pipeline dot parameter dot schema name at the rate, next at the rate pipeline dot parameter dot table name. Okay, with those things you can publish this publishing, click publish, it will publish. So once it is published, I will try with only two things. One is I will try to upload the one is empty file. I will try to upload the empty file. For empty file, empty.csv, when I upload, my pipeline should not run because I'm ignoring the empty blobs. And when I upload, this should be .json because my event trigger will respond only for .json files. Let me save this empty file as a .save or .json. Empty.json, because this trigger is basically respond only for the .json files. Even if you upload .csv files, it will not respond. That I will show you again. Okay, that also I need to show here, but still publishing. Let's wait. Okay, it is published. Now come to input. See, I am inside input container. Let's upload. Let me upload the CSV files. Okay, what will happen? We'll see. Okay, let me upload two files at a time. Come to data factory. Come to your data factory here. New pipeline is running or not? No, our last pipeline ran at 8:23. Now the time is 8:36. Let's go to same container, same folder, upload the JSON file. When you upload JSON file, you will see the change. Go to JSON file. Let's select multi-JSON file. I uploaded the JSON file. Now go to data factory. Now pipeline should run. Our pipeline is in progress. So it is responding. Hello, can you hear me, friends? Hello, can you
Yes,
hear me?
Yeah,
yes,
Malli.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Fine. See, now this pipeline is in progress. This pipeline is in progress. This will be succeeded. Once it is succeeded, this file data we should be able to see from here. Let's right click on this table, refresh this, expand this. You see CP multi JSON1.json file. Okay. So if you want to read this particular file, you can try to do it. What you need to do? CP cloud pandit multi JSON1.json file. Let's try to run this. You will see the JSON data. Okay, I'm able to see the JSON data. Understood, friend? So I'm able to read this particular data, load it in the SQL database. Next thing. So now you also have seen that one more thing that is like when you uploaded CSV files, it has not responded. Now I have a JSON file, empty.json file. This file I will upload. Will my pipeline respond for this or not? Tell me. Will my pipeline respond for this or not?
No.
Very good. It will not respond. See empty.json. Upload it. Click upload. Refresh this. See, it is not responding. Fine. Now, even I did not check. I wanted to check with you what I wanted to check with you is when I upload multiple JSON files at a time, so whether it is going to run pipeline twice or what is going to happen. Okay, because I even did not check, but I got that particular question now. Let's try that. Okay, let me just upload JSON file 2 and 3. Two files I uploaded. Refresh this. Pipeline is running only once, but what will happen in inside? We'll see. Oh no, pipeline is running twice. For each file, one time it is running. For each file, one time it is running. We know why it is failed because whatever data we have in that, so that is not a valid JSON format. One of the file is not having a valid JSON data. That's why it got failed. That is known error. Okay. So let me show you the error. It is not a correct JSON format. That is the reason why it got failed. You see incorrect syntax here because that is not in a proper JSON format. That's why it got failed. But we are not worrying about loading different file formats into different file formats. But those sessions we have in the future. But we have seen today event trigger, how this event trigger is working. This event trigger is going to respond to the events that are happening in your storages whenever file uploaded, whenever file deleted, whenever like empty file arrived into your blob storage. That decision you need to take whether you want to run pipeline or not. Everybody's clear on this event trigger. Everybody should be able to answer in interview, friends. Okay.
Malay, I have a query regarding this
Tell me, Pavnesh.
duplicated. Let's say after we update the data in the SQL team, means a file is created successfully in the DB. If we rerun the same pipeline, will it create duplicate data or it will just skip writing the same records
Again,
again?
you have uploaded a one file, you loaded data into SQL database, same file by mistake they are loaded again. What will happen in that case? It is going to keep the duplicate data in the SQL database side.
Okay, okay, fine.
So that's why what happens, that's why in every project in ETL, we are going to have something called data quality checks. What is the data cleansing, data quality checks is to verify all these things. In case if something is ran twice, we will have a duplicate records and all those things, right? To remove all those things, to check the quality of data, we are going to do all this data quality checks. Okay.
Got
This
it.
is
Thank
being made. Okay. Any other questions?
Yes, Malaya. Whenever we have 5 files in a container, we have to delete all 5 files. Then the pipeline will run.
Yes, pipeline is going to run 5 times now in the same case, right? So let's try that. Even let me show you that. So when I uploaded, but we are not responding for these things, right? Yeah, let's go here. In blob storage, we have that option. We have configured, right? So let's delete all these 4 CSV files. What will happen? Our pipeline is going to run 4 times or not? We will check here. That the second pipeline which we have created, whether it is running 4 times or not, you can check here. It should run 4 times as per our discussion. See, it is twice. Third file deleted, so it will pick third run. See, third run. So fourth run also it will pick. For each file, it is going to respond. For each file, it is going to respond. Okay. See, I think now you are able to see 4, right? So 4 times same pipeline, blob deletion check file. This pipeline is running 4 times because you deleted 4 files. When I added 2 files, it is running twice. The same way, when you delete 4 files, it is going to run 4 times. Delete pipeline. Okay. Clear, Murli?
Yes, Malaya. Is it not possible to run at a single pipeline for like that parallel parallel deletion like that?
In that case, what you need to do, you need to specify your file, exact file name you need to put here. What you are doing, you are responding for all the file names, right? All CSV files. Instead
Yeah,
of that, you need to say like here what we are doing, let's go to the like here triggers. You are saying I want to respond for all the .csv files. I want to respond for all the JSON files, right? You have something called blob path begins with. Let's say I have a sales file. Whenever sales file is deleted, I want to respond. Then you would need to say sales. Blob path begins with sales, ends with .csv. In middle, whatever file it will be. So only I want to respond for the sales files. That's how you need to do. Clear?
Yes, sir. Understood. Yeah, clear.
Okay, that's all for today,
Thank
friends. Okay, thank you. Tomorrow we'll talk about schedule trigger. Then next day on maybe on Sunday we'll talk about tumbling window. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you.